Hi Year 5, hi Year 6. This is the fifth lesson of your sequence of We Are Globally Aware. We're going to look at news from Whose View. So depending on whose viewpoint, the news story might change. Okay, so first of all, if we were in class, I'd ask you, do you recognise this image? It's a recent one, just last Saturday or Saturday before last when you're watching this clip. Do you know what it's from? Do you know which country it's from? Do you know what it represents? Okay, maybe, maybe not. Well, let's find out. So this was the front page of the Guardian newspaper, and it's a UK newspaper with a good reputation. It tells us the story of Trump being played by K-pop fans and TikTok users who disrupted a Tulsa rally. Now, it made me laugh because I thought this is direct action, this is campaigning, this is the sort of thing that we saw with crowds of people protesting Black Lives Matter down in the centre of Bristol and pulling down statues, which have kick-started the same thing around the world. There were people of all ages down there, all colours and all walks of life. Now this is a similar story in that it's young people making their feelings known. They are cross at the idea that Trump is on a rally trying to drum up voters for his election to a second term. And so even though they're too young to vote, they're making their voices heard by booking themselves tickets to a rally that they have no intention of going on and therefore leaving seats empty. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even the young have a voice. So this was the front page of a UK newspaper. What about an American newspaper? Well, they'll vary. There's the article if you want to read it. But the front page of the New York Times carried the same story but with a different photograph. Look at it now. Look at the number of seats that are filled in these lower tiers compared to the ones in the upper tiers. Right at the back you might have those empty seats. The headline reads, TikTok teens and K-pop stans say they sank Trump rally. There's a hint of sarcasm in that word there, say. Did a successful prank inflate attendance expectations for President Trump's rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma? There's that subheading, asking you to ask the question. And then we go from printed news onto other media, which is Fox News on Fox News Channel. Says Trump campaign rejects claims that TikTok and K-pop fans sabotaged rally. Don't know what they're talking about. There's a little video to go along with this. Hold on. Let's have a watch.
Is that there were thousands of empty seats as the cameras kept showing. This followed fierce criticism that he'd be exposing his supporters to the coronavirus and accusations of a blatant double standard by the press.
So the information here, this article, well, the news piece carries on with the reporter talking about how this is to do with the COVID situation as opposed to teenage activists. However, they do on their written press after top Democrats gloated that teenage activists had sabotaged turnout at President Trump's rally. Do you want to watch a bit more?
I've been watching the fake news for weeks now, and everything is negative. Don't go, don't come, don't do anything. Today it was like, I've never seen anything like it.
I've been talking to people in Oklahoma who are terrified. They're literally scared for their lives. The media is rooting for a side, and it's not yours. Like somehow, if you go to a Trump rally, you will die. But if you go to a protest, you will live.
The Trump can't.
So again, a crossover to what was happening in Bristol during the Black Lives Matter protests. People saying, of course it's all right to protest. It's our right to protest, but you shouldn't go to a rally. Okay. Got too many tabs up. Oop. Back to that tab. Okay, so we're thinking about, we've got news reports, printed news reports, and the UK version, all with slightly different spin on it, depending on who it's coming from. Then, if we think about the social media, what social media is coming out with, well, Sarah Cooper is a Trump impersonator, which means she copies Trump. She was made famous by TikTok, and she has this to say. She's very funny. Have a look out for her. You can find her on YouTube as well.
They have a pretty new, magnificent arena, as you probably have heard, and we're getting exact numbers out, but we're either close to or over 1 million people wanting to go. We have a 22,000 seat arena, but I think we're going to also take the convention hall next door, and that's going to hold 40,000, so we'll have 22,000 plus 40,000, which would mean that we'd have over 900,000 people that won't be able to go, but hopefully they'll be watching. But it's an amazing, nobody's ever heard of numbers like this. And we expect to have, it's like a record-setting crowd. We've never had an empty seat, and we certainly won't in Oklahoma.
So, never had an empty seat. Well, the photographs say that's not true. But can you really put a different viewpoint on a news story if you've used that person's own voice? Which is why I like Sarah Cooper. She doesn't change what he does, but she puts a little bit of a spin on it and highlights things that he said that ought to be questioned. And even though President Trump talks about fake news, he's actually one of the ones who is inflating figures. His maths was out, wasn't it? 40,000 plus 22,000, 900,000? Don't think so. And here we've got a bit of mocking on Twitter. These two are from Twitter. President Trump drawing his own pictures, adding people to his rally. And photos that can't be denied. President Obama's seats filled. Is every seat filled there? I think so, compared to President Trump. It's a bit emptier. Okay, so now it's your turn. I want you to ask these questions of the text that we've looked at today. So throughout all of these lessons, what we've been asking you to do is ask questions of the news that you're coming across. And are you looking at fake news just because the information is coming from TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, for example? Or can it be fake or biased when it comes from a newspaper with a good reputation? And can you consider the sources of news we've looked at today, and for each one, ask the following questions. Do you think the text is trying to change what you think, and if so, how? Whose point of view and voice is heard, and why do you think the author made this choice? Number 3, does the author use stereotypes, and why do you think the author has done this? And which character do you want to criticise? Why? And how has the author made you feel this way? And lastly, are there any views or beliefs in the text that you might not agree with, and why not? How would you change the text to better reflect your views? Now, none of those questions refer to the Tulsa rally or to Sarah Cooper or to President Trump, because those questions can be asked of any newspaper article or press piece that you come across, and information and news that comes through in social media. In order to develop critical thinking, you need to be asking questions all the time. You can't see that, but it says who, why. It's the question stems right there. So there are various quotes out there that say that good leaders are those that ask questions, and those with good analytical and critical thinking are those that ask questions of what they're looking at all the time. Okay, good luck. Oh, don't forget to take a photo of your responses, your ideas, and send them to us. Okay, look forward to seeing those. Bye.